It snowed. Spinning. I haven't spun in maybe a month. I've decided that I'm gonna try spinning Shanico for the first time. I got this gorgeous braid from Knitting Lizard, and Liz is a dyer here in the Twin Cities area, and this is just the most beautiful colorway. It's Snowfall. Yesterday I wore my Lento sweater, and that was my fingering weight yarn. No, Surrey. I used Snowfall in Surrey, and I just love the soft greens and purples in it. So it's 80% Shanico, 20% silk, non-superwash. So I'm gonna spin it up, and I think it's gonna be really dreamy to spin. Shanico is a cross of Merino and Rambouillet, I think it was. I can't totally remember, but it's US grown from a US women company. It's like milled in the US. We love it. So I'm gonna put on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I'm gonna do a little spinning. Last week I did an Ask Me Anything on Instagram because I figured Vlogmas during the work week could get a little boring because I'm just working. So I have a couple of questions, and my lovely assistant has agreed to ask them while I spin. So he can you can kind of participate in this conversation too. Assistant, what's your name?
Christopher.
Christopher with the PH, not enough. Okay, all right, first question.
If I ever in color would like to know what's your knitting origin story, please say radioactive spider bite.
So it was a radioactive spider bite. No, I'm just kidding. My knitting origin story is, so when I was 19, my sophomore year of college, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to drop out of school for a little bit. I had half my colon out and had to drop out of school to heal and recover and all those really good things. I didn't have to do chemo or radiation. My type of cancer didn't really have that treatment plan in it. After a lot of testing, we determined that it wasn't, we just didn't need it. It wouldn't have responded, there wasn't something to treat it, and I also didn't need it. So anywho, that's a long story. My aunt, who is a beautiful knitter, taught me how to knit. The cat's meowing. My aunt taught me how to knit. So I knit a lot of scarves flat. And I think one of the questions on your list was what's your first knit? And my first knit was definitely a flat scarf, just back and forth knits and purls. I did that for a while, didn't touch it again. Picked it back up again maybe 5 years later, put it back, tried one of the little, yarn looms that you can get at Michael's, gave up on it. When we first moved into our house in, what year did we move into the house?
2017.
In 2017, my birthday present, my aunt gave me a set of circular needles and some Malabrigo yarn and a hat pattern, and taught me how to knit in the round. And I did a cowl. No, yeah, not a hat pattern, a cowl. So I knit a cowl, and then I stopped. And then randomly, January 2020, I decided, December 2019, right?
2019.
No. Well, December of 2019, I took a class through the city on how to knit a hat in the round. I didn't finish the hat because I didn't understand magic loop or double pointed needles. And then took another class during COVID online on knitting a hat, finished the hat, and then, to your point, December 2020, we went up north and we did like a safe, socially distanced visit to my first yarn shop I'd ever been to, which is Yarn Harbor. And I remember seeing Lavender Loon. Like, I remember seeing that logo and being like, holy crap, that's beautiful. And I bought my first skein of Malabrigo, and I knit some hats. And then that Christmas, you bought me my needles, my interchangeable needle set, and I've been obsessed since. So that's a very long origin story, but it's over, 10 years, and knitting was always there waiting for me.
Well, you needed something to do to keep you occupied during all the Zoom legislative things too.
Yes. So I'm a lobbyist, and during COVID, everything was remote. And so to sit in hours of committees through Zoom was really hard because you want to look at your phone, you want to look at your email. So I got a lot of knitting done in like 2021 was really the year that I did a ton of knitting, I think.
Wants to know, pick your knitting superpower, always perfect gauge or knitting 5 times faster.
Perfect gauge. I'm a pretty quick knitter. I knit, I'm a picker, so I knit continental. And so I can go pretty quick, but my gauge, I'm a very loose knitter, and I'm always struggling for a lot of patterns to get gauge. So to know you're always gonna have gauge and you never have to gauge swatch again, sounds heavenly. I don't know, you all, viewers, would you rather knit 5 times faster or have perfect gauge? I think that's an interesting one.
Side Knits wants to know, for locals, what's your favorite Minneapolis coffee shop?
SunBean. SunBean is a newer coffee shop, just lovely, like very community-based, community-driven. They do like meet and greets with elected officials. They have the happy lights up and going during the winter, and it's just like the friendliest staff, and the owner Fred is really nice too. So SunBean, and they carry fruit and grain pastries.
Selfish Knitter / Southside Knits wants to know, what was your first knitting project? Do you still have it?
I don't think I still have that scarf. I still have the hat, my first hat that I knit. I think I still have that cowl, the first cowl I made in the round. The first sweater I made, I gifted to somebody because it's like super oversized. It was like one of those weird knitter kits that I ended up not even using that pattern. So I definitely do not have the first scarf I made, unless it's still like mom kept it and it's at home.
Mammy Grace Designs wants to know, where did you grow up?
I grew up in South Central Wisconsin. I grew up in Janesville, Wisconsin, which is fun because if you watch Sock Witchery over here on the YouTube, or you knit any of Lindsay's patterns, she also grew up in Janesville, but we're 4 years apart. Grew up there, went to school at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, go Badgers, and moved to Minnesota in 2015, and have been here since and do not plan to go back. Even though all my family is basically all still in Wisconsin except for my brother Jack.
Zopeg Knit wants to know, when was your house built? When was your house built, Emily?
21 or 23?
23.
23. So our house was built in 1923. When we were looking for a house, we really wanted an old house, and we wanted all the original woodwork still. So you can see like this beam behind me, the arch, the woodwork around the doors. We really wanted the natural woodwork that wasn't painted. And this was the first and only house we put an offer in 2016. December 2016 we put an offer in, right? December, November. It was snowy when we looked at the house. There was snow. We were at the house for a whole 10 minutes because that's when the market was starting to get really hot. And we put in an offer and got it, which was a miracle. I remember going to town hall with your dad, and he's like, "You're not gonna get this house."
I was also with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm
see.
talking I to the people, but we. But we got it, and it's our house, and we've done a lot of projects. I showed everybody the bathroom on VLOGMAS yesterday. That was a good 8 minutes worth of questions. There's a lot of questions. I think I got like 35-ish total. So maybe I'll break some up and we'll do a couple more questions tomorrow. But it was a fun exercise, so thanks everybody. It's always fun to get to know more about people, I think. Like, I know I like it when vlogs, podcasts that I follow do a little bit more of like the about you. Yeah, I want to know from you all, what would your knitting superpower be, right? So knit at 5 times the speed or perfect gauge. And then maybe what was your first knit and do you still have it? Because I think those are good questions. All right. And with that, I'm going to go back to spinning and we got to figure out our dinner plans. He's just waggling his eyebrows. All right, bye. Shoveling's done. I did a little bit of spinning. It's been a good day. Everything feels better, cozier. Even work feels cozier when there's snow on the ground. I had to leave the house for a little bit this afternoon to go get some lab work done. And my new tires were incredible in the snow. So that's nice knowing that the days I have to drive to the Capitol, even when it's snowing, it should be okay. At least tire-wise, my tires will be great. So today is the 19th. I have 2 skeins to open up today, the Through the Wardrobe. And then also I get to open up the next day of Treehouse Knits Traveling the World. Oh, sorry, I got a little off there. Okay, so today's colorway is Mr. and Mrs. Beaver, which is like the coziest thing. So here are the beavers. Here's Mrs. Beaver sewing. I think I read yesterday that we're transitioning to fall. And so I'm not quite sure what that means for the beavers. But I do know that I love these characters. We rewatched The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe earlier. And they're just the cutest characters. I wonder if they are in the last battle and maybe that's where Autumn comes from. Or, yeah, I don't know. So here it is, 19. Pretty. This is really lovely. So it is a gold with white and a really soft brown that almost looks more pink. I just started knitting with yesterday's color, so I'm a little bit behind. So here's day 17, and then I am putting day 19. I decided to go all the way down to this bottom corner, so it's yellow and yellow on either end, and I'll have exactly, by the time I do this whole row and connect, it'll be 24 days and then it'll be done. And I actually think I'm going to be done with this blanket after this piece. I'm just making a little lap blanket because I still have half a skein of each mini, and I think I'm gonna save it for either another little blanket, because I could do another anthology, or save it for scraps, like for socks, heels, toes, cuffs. Save them for one of, like, Kacey Herlihy has a really cool scrappy project. I know a bunch of little scrappy projects exist, cowls, hats. So I might just sit on them for now rather than making this double the size, because I'm pretty content with this. Anywho, so today it's very pretty. It honestly looks very nice with this book. That's the vibe. All right. And then December 19th, the colorway is Death Valley. Oh, is this not? It's called Artist's Palette. This is art. Everything Treehouse does, everything Lauren does, I'm just obsessed. I saw that she was doing an in-stock update with leftovers from Indie Untangled, and if you remember, all of the indie yarn I bought was from Lauren. Everything else was farm yarn at Rhinebeck, And she's doing a 24% off code. So maybe, I don't need it, but maybe I do. This is so gorgeous. Okay, let me go get the other skeins and we can hold them up together. I love the transition she made because these have all been very like purpley, grays, whites, creams, pinks, and to then pull in this blue brown, but to do it really well. I'm obsessed. I wonder if she's gonna bring in more greens. Lauren does greens very well. It's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna knit. Surprise, are you shocked? That's my plan. I got through maybe a quarter of the braid today that I'm spinning, and I'm enjoying it. The Shanico, I've noticed, is very staticky. I don't know if it's because it's dry, it's winter air, but it kind of it just has a lot of charge to it and kind of frizzes a bit. But I'm enjoying it, with the silk especially. I don't spin with a ton of silk, so it's I need to get better at pre-drafting it to ensure a smoother consistency. I'm doing like this hybrid long draw, which is kind of what I tend to do, and it seems to be working out okay. I'll do my standard DK 2-ply. It works out well that way. Tomorrow is Friday. It is the last working day of the year. My office is closed the last 2 weeks of the year, and we don't return till January 6th. I'll probably have to work a little bit because session starts January 14th, but I'm very excited to have time off and to chill. I think tomorrow I'm gonna take you on a field trip, but you'll see it when you see it. So I've got my glass of wine, our electric fireplace is going, there's snow outside. I'm gonna work on this beautiful blanket. It doesn't really get any cozier than this.